To start with you.
Straight from the hearts of open-minded men and women.
Money tends to move faster at night. So when
people are not counting,
don't take it for granted.
Candid and authentic.
Because Uganda is not Thailand.
That's not correct, and we should stop that kind of mentality.
So what I'm saying is,
a trick question. Don't answer.
I'm not getting into that.
I think that's where we are beginning to have a problem.
I think what is going to kill the parish model are all the misconceptions on how it's supposed to run.
I know that the Prime Minister is listening.
Behind the headlines.
Charles, let us agree. We liberalized the economy.
We are several nations put it together.
Why don't you appreciate that?
What if it fails? I'm happy because I know it's not in the power.
The parish development committee is functional. It is aware that there is a parish chief that the beneficiaries do exist.
So we look at expenditure. We don't look at revenue. And that is the challenge we are giving them from Minister of Finance.
No fountain of new knowledge flowing into the mass body of knowledge.
First get the knowledge of how they want to be modernized.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
You return money to the treasury, which is meant for the people.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
From times immemorial, the office of the Prime Minister has been marred by occurrences, some ending up as mere allegations, whilst others have turned out to be situations that end up getting justice, going the way of those situations. Today, on UBC Behind the Headlines, we delve deeper into what's been happening from the past weeks to this particular time, as we try to look and get into the realities of that is happening. Are they scandals? Are they allegations? Are they realities? My name is Tony Kent Chaze, and I'm sitting in for Charles Odongtho. Today with me on the panel is actually an all-male kind of panel, and perhaps for the aspect of gender balance, we do apologize because Dr. Sarah Birete is in Lusaka, Zambia for particular assignments, whilst as well for the other sisters we tried to get a hold of, it was not as appropriate as we had expected. Sorry about that. So today it's basically an all-male panel, and just to let you know who it is that I have in the house, we do have with us Honorable Geoffrey Kabyanga, the ICT and National Guidance State Minister. Thank you for coming through, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Chaze.
Yes, we do have as well Honorable Ngoya John Bosco, the Member of Parliament for Bokora East County, Napak District. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, and good evening, Chaze.
Thank you. We also see in our midst is the Dodoth West County MP, Honorable Batum Ben Lojokotao. I hope that is the right pronunciation.
Yes, Batum is the other pronunciation. Lojokotao is correct.
Okay,
you
that one.
Well.
That one.
Good evening, viewers, and good evening, Chaze.
Yes. I'm actually surprised that today the panel is all referring to me by actually my surname, which is a rare occurrence. But as well, we do have the usual suspect. Not a suspect in the aspect of what's happening in the country today, but suspect in the aspect of presence on the show. That is Honorable Ojara Mapenduzi, the MP Badeje.
Thank you, my brother Chaze, and good evening to you, the viewers.
We had planned to have Honorable Amos Lugolobi, the State Minister for Planning in the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, but it looks to be he's getting held up. Probably in case he comes through, he will find us along the way, but in case he doesn't, then it will be perhaps a wrong kind of end for us, because we thought we would have someone who's been implicated perhaps on those kinds of allegations coming to share with us. But that definitely turns us now to the Honorable State Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Honorable Geoffrey Kabyanga. You've heard about what's happening. Actually, on this show last week, the talk of iron sheets was the center focus. This week, yet again, because of the other development that came through, the GOATs become the other talk and center of focus. But perhaps as Minister for ICT and National Guidance, of course, State Minister, please tell us what's happening. Are these allegations? Are these realities?
I think as right now, the allegations, and that's why all those allegations are being investigated. But let me also tell the nation that as a state minister and in charge of national guidance, I'm a happy man. Because one, it's our own state organs that first found out what was going on, because it was State House Anti-Corruption Unit, which first brought out these allegations. And then that one is a clear manifestation that state organs are working. Another aspect why I'm happy is that all the leaders have promised that they will cooperate with the investigators. The Prime Minister has promised that. The Speaker, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, yesterday promised that, and he even assured the nation how he has already forwarded the petition by our honorable MPs from Karamoja to the Parliamentary Committee of Presidential Affairs, yes, which implies she's ready to cooperate. I'm also happy that most of the leaders who allegedly received the iron sheets, most of them have come out openly to accept that they received the iron sheets. And some of them have even testified to the committee. And some have also given statements in the media to explain how they got the iron sheets and how they distributed them. So for me, that openness itself shows there is a lot of commitment, and you have also seen all organs of government, investigative organs of government, have gone in to say, we are going to investigate. Parliament is already investigating, and the corruption unit is already investigating. IGG has come out openly to say, I will not leave any stone unturned. CID is also investigating. So I think that one is already a positive aspect that we should be proud of as a country. That whenever something like this happens, every organ of government,
proactive action taken.
Actually, there is proactive action taken, and to even those who are mentioned in this are ready to cooperate. And me, that one is so nice on my side. And what we are waiting for now is the report. The only thing I would like to appeal to all Ugandans, we shouldn't pass judgment and we shouldn't castigate anyone till all the reports are received and till all the people mentioned have really given their defense. Because if we start passing judgment, if we start castigating everybody, then it will be diversionary. It will be diversionary. You just pronounce someone guilty before even being heard. I mean, it will be so diversionary. So it's really something very good that we should really be happy with. And I would like to applaud all these people who are mentioned for the cooperation they have so far they have so far shown. But also, we should also know that the Office of the Prime Minister has been giving relief. This is not the first time Office of the Prime Minister is giving what?
Relief.
Relief. And therefore, we should also have that in mind, that the iron sheets which were given out may not necessarily be those ones of Karamoja. So that's why we should wait for the investigative organs of government,
the reports,
to really come out and tell us, you know, Karamoja was given this number of iron sheets, these were delivered, and these ones were not what? Delivered. Then we find out where those which were not delivered went. But if we go ahead and start castigating people and calling them all sorts of names, it will be diversionary. Because, for instance, I will give you what I have seen now. Because investigations, we have seen people testify. For instance, you look at the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. Say, yes, I got the iron sheets, but they were given to a what? A secondary school. And
I was actually going to get you there because you highlighted the fact that they are mere allegations, but apparently some of the leaders have come out to confirm these are realities.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. They are allegations, but obviously with investigations and testimonies, some of them will be reality. You're getting me?
Yes.
But in Uganda, you know, it's you are only you are innocent till proved what?
Proven guilty.
So, for instance, she tells you, look, and when you look at even the delivery, it was signed by a head teacher of a what? Of a secondary school. So you just see that the Right Honorable Speaker didn't take them for a personal what? A personal use. It was going to a school which was needed. So the issue is, are they for Karamoja, or they were iron sheets, which is part of relief, which is always given by Office of the Prime Minister? Because me, I come from Kasese, and Kasese, you know very well, it's a disaster-prone area.
Yes.
We have received iron sheets, we have received the hose, we have received blankets from Office of the Prime Minister, just as Karamoja has what? Has received. So those are things which we need really to look at carefully, and not apportion blame. The Vice President, for instance, Her Excellency the Vice President, has also surfaced, her name has surfaced. But over 500 iron sheets, I think. Now, over the weekend, His Excellency, Her Excellency the Vice President, was a guest of honor at a fundraising in Kasese. And she couldn't make it. She sent Honorable Victoria Rusoke and donated 20 million shillings. 20 million shillings.
Yes.
And you know, these iron sheets which I saw, probably one is 50,000.
The type of gauge is
the
probably
type of
the
gauge,
50
it can
to
be around,
70,000.
say, 50,000 shillings. So 20 million can buy 400 what?
80,000.
No, I don't know, but open market probably can be 80,000.
Honorable, you're shedding light on iron sheets, but I would as well love, before I do bring on our brothers here, to get some bit of light concerning the goats.
Yes, yes, I'll come to that. But I was trying to tell you that you cannot say someone probably was interested in those iron sheets when he can even donate 20 million shillings, which 20 million shillings can buy what? Iron sheets. The Right Honorable Speaker has donated even 30 million shillings. The Right Honorable Prime Minister has donated money which can buy what?
Those
iron
kinds
sheets.
of iron sheets.
So me, that's why I'm saying let us wait for the report, and then we can pass it on the goats. The issue of the goats.
25.
That's
25,
now
the figure is stipulated to be 25 billion.
Exactly. And my brothers from Karamoja here, for them they even have the figures. What was supposed to be bought and what was delivered, and all that information. And I'm happy that leaders are coming up with information and not speculation. They say, no, this is the report which was given by the technical people.
Yes.
But for us on the ground, we the leaders of Karamoja, this is what we received. And that is very good. For us who have been leaders in local government with my brother, Honorable Mapinduzi, we know what we go through down there. But the leaders are saying, look, for you, your report is saying this. For us, this is what we received. I think that shows that our local governments are becoming strong and they can't be intimidated. They are not going to accept what they didn't receive. And I think that's what stewardship is all about. That's what monitoring is all about. That's what supervision is all about. So when I see my brothers from Karamoja coming up to say, please, these goats we didn't receive, I am happy, because that's what we want as government. And as national guidance,
yes,
we are overstressing issues of values. And what is killing this country is our values are deteriorating. Okay, because if really they give you money to go and purchase goats, purchase them and deliver them where they are supposed to be what? To be delivered. Because the people, there must have been a need. Government couldn't have gone into goats without that what? That need.
Honorable,
Yes.
we shall be getting back into that, and perhaps as well looking into the kind of procedure that's meant to be followed for such an activity, or maybe dispatch or dissemination to take center stage. But let's find out from Honorable Ngoya. When Honorable Kabyanga highlighted that you have the figures, I saw you nodding in affirmation, and perhaps you could be giving us the picture on the ground. What exactly is on the ground? You as a representative of one of the areas.
Good evening, viewers, and thank you so much, Chaze, for allowing me to participate in this debate. This debate comes at the backdrop of discussions related to iron sheets. And the conversation is about processes gone wrong.
Yes.
And we have heard from the Minister, Godfrey, that the processes were not followed, both for iron sheets and also for the goats.
Yes.
And for a country that is proud for having built a system 37 years down the road, and the minister starts issuing instructions on phone and WhatsApp.
Honorable, do you have evidence of such, or it's basically the same allegations?
It is not an allegation.
You
Today and yesterday, we had an opportunity to interact with some of these ministers. Today only we actually interacted with Honorable Matia Kasaija. We also interacted with Honorable Kitutu. And so we are not talking about allegations. This is an interaction we have actually had together with the committee. On Monday we had an interaction with the leaders from Karamoja. Let's look back and start saying, what was it? What was the purpose of the goats? What was the purpose of the iron sheets? Because then we'd actually appreciate that we are talking about a region struggling in many angles.
Yes.
The process of getting a supplementary budget was so strenuous to the point that we even had to invite the security agencies to sort of participate in the process. And the supplementary budget was 39 billion.
That is as of 2021, when it was passed.
Absolutely. And so we're talking about the process of 2021 through to 2023. Now, 64% of that budget was supposed to be for goats. 20% was supposed to be for iron sheets. And 23% was supposed to be for community mobilization, the so-called mindset change. So you would actually be able to expect that everything is taken care of. Now, when the issue of goats came up, but also with the iron sheets, we knew, and we had a lot of conversation with the office of the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs.
Yes.
In many instances, we raised a red flag that to start procuring goats at this moment when there is a peak of insecurity was not right. Can we delay the process so that when insecurity actually calms down, we have a reason to be able to give individuals this empowerment item, the livelihood restoration. We look at goats from the context of pastoralists. And His Excellency the President took a lot of time to convince leaders in Murulinga. We actually had opted for tractors because we knew tractors would actually help the communities to improve productivity.
Okay.
But his conviction was that he had a conversation with some investors in the Middle East and said if communities multiply goats, they would actually be able to get easy market and have money that can actually go to their families to restore their lives.
As well have something.
That was a good conviction. But we provided as leaders guidance to the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs, together with the Office of the Prime Minister. Let's halt that process. The money is there, all right, but we can't just pour money as an accountability or disposing or expending the money that government has actually provided.
Yes.
Now, when you hear reports that from the 74,000 goats that were supposed to be provided to, actually, to be exact, 74,400 goats were supposed to go to Karamoja region. And what was actually delivered, or what the shortfall of the delivery is 39,082 goats not delivered. So if you look at the costs of the goats, you would actually realize if you took the lower figure, that is 230, according to the figure that was presented by the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs, you would actually see that the region has not received 9 billion shillings. On the higher side, if you actually look at it in terms of the BOA, the cost of the BOA, which was 800,000 shillings, in the cost of the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs, it is 595. That was the highest. So you basically have a region planned to be able to receive 23 billion shillings, and that has not been delivered. Now, that is the irony. Now, listening to the Minister of National Guidance, talking about how the state was the one that was able to identify there was a problem. I can tell you there are many meetings we have actually held.
So basically, Honorable, you're refuting that kind of fact, that the state came out first to see this.
I am refuting that because, and I have a lot of discussions we have actually held at the Ministry of, the Office of the Prime Minister. Those processes were already agreed. I told you there was already a red flag.
Yeah.
Even in the meeting we had with the president in Murulinga, we actually raised a red flag. And the president actually convinced us that if we went this way, we have ready market for your products. And when the president actually stated that, the minister that we are talking about now, Honorable Kitutu, together with Honorable Agnes Nandutu, clapped their hands as if it was like, yeah, we have actually got it from the horse mouth. So you know that excitement. For us, we are advising that let's withhold this procurement for now until people are ready, until security has been restored.
Let me just come in a little because we need to have a balanced input from each one of us on this panel.
Yeah.
I want to know something because the reports coming our way are indicating that the process had gotten started, just like the iron sheets dissemination had gotten started, but along the way, there was a bit of a halt. And so is the case with the goats. So at what stage do you realize there was a problem? Was it at the process, the stage of getting it ready, or probably therein within the track of the distribution of the goats?
Thank you so much, Chase. Again, like I said, we had one of the first meetings we had with the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs after they had actually received the money.
Yes.
And we actually told them, halt the procurement process that actually started. That is back in February 2022. Say, halt the process of the procurement so that the procurement process actually benefits the community, but also is advised by the policymakers. So that is back in February.
Yes.
So just imagine that conversation. And, you know, just like we have already noted, the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs doesn't want to listen to the leaders. From February through to about September or even June, when we actually had an engagement with the president, we actually had to constitute a team.
In your view, why doesn't the minister want to listen to you, the local leaders?
I can't tell. Maybe, I remember when she was actually appointed as a minister, there were lots of, there was a lot of resistance from the communities, but also the leaders.
Why was there resistance?
We needed an hybrid. If the president was interested about having somebody to lead the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs, that ministry should be led by somebody who has an understanding of the context of the area.
Honorable, let's keep it at that first. But just probably to let you know, you that is watching us on UBC TV, we are streaming live on YouTube, and for you to access our YouTube channel, it is simply typing into the YouTube browser, UBC Television Uganda. And by the way, you could as well follow the hashtag on Twitter, that is UBC Behind the Headlines, and you could as well send us a message. Your messages will be coming to me straight on 0709 602 592, but that's only via WhatsApp. Honorable Batum, is that the right one this time?
Batum.
Batum. Wow. I think the next time I have a script of the names, I'll be writing it the way I understand it, and perhaps as well the way I would best pronounce. But Honorable, I'm bringing you on to take it on at the moment. Honorable Ngoya mentioned the need for Karamoja to have their own as Minister for Such Affairs. I mean, could it be the way to go? Say, for example, if I come from Western Uganda, and perhaps there is a Western Affairs Ministry, it's a Westerner to be in that ministry, and so would be the case with the rest of the areas.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think, one, the prerogative and the powers to appoint the persons to be ministers in our country by constitutions are vested on
His Excellency,
the head of state, His Excellency the President. And he will appoint who he deems fit at any point in time to become in charge of any ministry, irrespective of which ministry it is, whether it's Karamoja, Bunyoro, any. And we expect that the head of state has done his due diligence. He knows the people he's appointing, and he knows they can undertake that responsibility to the best of his knowledge, because that appointment as a minister is a delegated function from His Excellency. He cannot do many other things at the same time, so he will always appoint ministers to take charge of those dockets. And it's expected that when you are appointed to that office, you are well conversant with the provisions of, first of all, the Constitution as the supreme law of this country, and you will undertake that responsibility based on those the provisions of the laws. Let me just take you to Chapter 4 of our Constitution and the relationship between the Ministry of Karamoja and probably the functions and many other things. Chapter 4 talks about the fundamental human rights, and it's about protection and promotion of fundamental and other human rights and freedoms. Specifically, Article 32, Clause 1, if I have to read it, says, notwithstanding anything in this Constitution, the state shall take affirmative action in favor of groups marginalized on the basis of gender, age, disability, or any other reason created by history, tradition, or customs, for the purpose of redressing imbalances which exist against them. Now, we expect that when the president is appointing the minister, for example, for Karamoja, he has this, or any other affirmative action ministry, Bunyoro, Teso, Renzori, Luero, he has this in his background. Definitely. He knows that this person is going to do that. But when you look at the actions that our sisters did in this scandal that we now are debating, I don't think they had this in mind. And I don't think they understood the reason why the president appointed them there and why that ministry existed. Because by the time you get iron sheets, and by the way, I just want to quote something from a report that was presented by, again, I don't want to say it, but it's based on the budget that was prepared by a multi-sectoral committee. I was present in that budget. I represented KPG. I was there with Bosco and the chairperson. Just a statement.
I hope by the procedures that take you on as member of parliament, it is right for you to share that.
I don't think there's anything
we
wrong
don't want
with
to hear.
It's a public document.
Okay, we don't want to be seen behind the headlines to be quoted somewhere.
It's not secret anymore.
For leaking information.
It's not secret.
Okay.
It talks about the consultative process that we engaged in order to arrive at that supplementary budget of 39.9. By the way, that budget would as well say it's 40 billion. Because it was just short of 40 billion by just 60 million. It was 39.94 billion. But we popularly say 39 billion, but it was 39.94 billion.
Yeah.
Now, particularly, what I want to quote is, because to address the security situation in the region, it was agreed that, among other things, the meetings agreed that the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs would provide alternative means of livelihoods, in bracket, goats. Goats. I want us to underline that. And better living conditions, bracket, iron sheets. Okay. They are very specific. Specific to reformed warriors and vulnerable households, respectively, and organize community engagements to promote peace in the region. So it means, what this tells us is like, there was already like, just like the Constitution is stating, this region is suffering from a lot of ailments that needs to be addressed in order to bring it to the rest of the country, at par with the rest of the country. This has been done over a period of time. And there is history that those ministers who were appointed there, probably in one way or another, others did well, others did not do well. But I expected that, because this is a age where like everything is followed and the country is, the world is a global village, everybody follows everything in their fingertips, then the minister should have known that we need to do our best to make sure we are at that level. But they didn't do that. So it tells us probably at that point in time, I don't want to question the appointment, the decision by the president to appoint them, but I think they let down the president. They let down the president because then they should have done exactly what they were meant to do. Affirmative action for Karamoja to make sure Karamoja comes to that level. So it tells us that probably at that point they did not have the basic requirement that would make them suitable to undertake those assignments in the Karamoja region.
Honorable Lojo Kotao, let me just come in a little. Do you have any of your attached persons, let's say relatives, giving you feedback on this kind of situation, maybe concerning the roofs or probably concerning the goats? I'm not implicating you for having reformed warriors, but I'm asking, do you have such examples, living examples in your family?
Thank you very much. The idea of iron sheets started with the First Lady when she was Minister for Karamoja. When she came to Karamoja, she looked at the living conditions of the Karamojong. They live in homesteads that where huts are grass thatched, and in the event of a disaster, for example, people move out to do many other chores and leave children at home who must fend for themselves. But in the struggle that children want to prepare maybe porridge or something like that for during the day to feed other young ones, they've not managed the fire very well because the cooking areas are outside. The hut will catch fire. It means once that single hut catches fire, the entire homestead gets burned out. And she received a lot of reports, disaster reports about homes getting burned. And she's like, no, this should not be continuing to happen when I'm the minister for Karamoja. So she moved on with an idea of building model villages. She did a model village in Moroto town and moved some of these homesteads to live there.
Yes.
Did a model village in Loreng-Edward and brought these homesteads to settle there. But unfortunately, they did not feel that was the setting of a homestead for them to live in. And they decided to rent out these houses. Now, the first lady had to go back and ask why they were not taking up those accommodations, and yet they were better than the arts. And they told the first lady, look, that arrangement of you've put us for us there is not how our culture and how we want to live. It would be good if you provided for us iron sheets and we build for our own selves, for ourselves, our own homes. And that's how the first lady came up with the idea of saying, okay, under my ministry, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to continue building model villages. I am going to provide iron sheets.
So they can build
provide iron sheets. They build their own.
Yes.
Houses in their locations, wherever they want.
Okay.
There are those who want to put in a trading center and start doing small businesses to sell small items brought from Bali and other places that cannot be got locally. There are those who will say, no, I want to put something where I can sleep.
Yeah.
So that's how the whole idea came in. So what happened was, when the idea was conceived, then the first lady said, no, I need to put checks and balances. I want the local governments to identify beneficiaries. So the permanent secretary or office of the Prime Minister would write to the COW, directing them to identify categories of beneficiaries. And by the way, I worked in local government and I participated in even identifying those beneficiaries. The letter would come to the COW would forward to the DCDO. I was the DCDO then. Say, use the CDOs to identify these beneficiaries. There would be 10 youth, 10 women, 10 persons with disabilities, 10 elders, and then 10 women per sub-county. Those are 50 beneficiaries per sub-county. So I will draft a letter for COW to the sub-county chief that facilitate the CDO to identify these beneficiaries through community engagement meetings. Okay. Now, once they do that, they will send the names of beneficiaries to the district. We compile, and we send them to office of the Prime Minister and copy to the members of parliament from that district.
Clear process.
Now, once the list comes here, OPM would send officers to the district to verify.
Okay.
If the selection was not based on this is the so-and-so's relative, the chairman's relative, maybe the DCO's relative or the sub-county chief's relative. Once they have confirmed that these are beneficiaries selected through a transparent and very honest,
genuine beneficiaries
approach, then they will come back and say they're the right beneficiaries.
Okay.
Then they would inform the first lady. Then for us, she would direct the accounting officer to release the iron sheets to the members of parliament, not again to the district, and say, and provide them with the list. This is the list that was generated from the district. Actually, the district would send transport, pick iron sheets to the district, then the MPs go with the list. Pick the chairman, pick the RDC, pick everybody else, then they go and hand over the iron sheets. But one thing that they would do was, they would go and tell the beneficiaries, you've been selected, so we want you to put up the substructure, the wall. You don't give iron sheets before.
Oh.
Yes.
There was a precondition.
Yeah, precondition. So somebody would first do the foundation, the wall.
Yeah.
When it reaches roofing, then they will tell you, come to the store and pick the iron sheets. Then you go and roof. So there would be both paper accountability for office of the Prime Minister and physical accountability that there is a house. So that was the process. So when the First Lady left the ministry, Honorable John Biabagambi came in with Honorable Chisige. They continued with the same process. They didn't change anything. But they were alongside the improvement of living conditions, there were other community empowerment programs. There was giving out of AFAS, giving out of sewing machines. Yeah. There was giving out of ox plows. There was giving out of oxen. And all this was done through a transparent process. Now, fast forward, we have Honorable Dr. Mary Goreti, Chitutu, and Nandutu. Everything goes upside down.
And you're one of those that want to see her censured?
Absolutely, because she has not lived to our expectations.
I'll be coming back to you, Honorable.
Yes.
Let's first and foremost give a bit of a moment to Honorable Mapenduzi. The first time I met him was somewhere, and it was an operation in Gulu, but he cannot remember me. Well, of course, I patted him on the shoulder.
What have you gone to do?
Ah, you see? He's now asking
To buy charcoal.
They are going to buy charcoal.
no, please let's maintain it. You be seen behind the headlights. Anyway, Honorable Mapenduzi, I want to bring you in as far as the aspect of the processes followed. You see, I've followed you doing lots of accountabilities, following up on clarities of processes, and the likes, basically. But how this whole situation, all these situations are coming our way, is posing an element of non-clarity in the procedures followed. I don't know what your take is on that.
What I see from this Karamoja issue that has been running on for the last 2 weeks or so is that this country is bleeding, and we have to be bold enough to say the things that some people fear to say. Because you would wonder why someone who is charged with the responsibility of helping the most disadvantaged, you would wonder why and how they would turn around and begin to abuse the people they should be caring for. Yes. And so I'm tempted to think that it's either theft, it's even more than greed. I don't know the best word to use. It's like you are charged with the duty of taking care of the sick, and you abuse that sick person.
Actually, the president said it's like a father buying meat and stealing his own meat.
Actually, stealing your own. Stealing your own.
No, the good thing we have Honorable Kabianga, he will be responding to you.
But you see again where you are not going to be fair. He does not speak for people who are greedy and corrupt and thieves. That's what I want to believe, because I have known him since he was in local government. So also, much as you would want him to talk as minister, he's going to talk what he believes in, but we shouldn't push him to defend the wrong. That is it. So let us also spare him. When you see him very hesitant, he also feels the pain. He's just trying to behave maturely.
Honorable Mapenduzi, just a moment. Honorable Kabianga, do you indeed feel the pain like
Let me answer. He feels the pain. You'll not tell.
No, there's no one in this country that is not feeling this pain.
It's just being diplomatic, because you know in cabinet there is collective responsibility, but not collective responsibility for stealing. So he's probably trying to be diplomatic because maybe there are some decisions that will be taken, so he cannot go ahead to say much. You say much. These people who, anyway, I'll not push words into your mouth. But let us be honest with ourselves.
Yes.
Last week we talked about the iron sheet. And I want to thank the people who have come up openly to say, yes, I receive. Because, you know, this is not the first time these iron sheets are being given.
Yeah.
At every, there is this affirmative action. Karamoja, they have been receiving iron sheets. Acholi, Bunyoro, Teso, West Nile, Luero, these areas that have got this affirmative action,
Elgon.
that is okay. And it is not wrong, because most of the people who receive these iron sheets receive because they are those in need. So it's okay. Now, the ministers who came up to say, look, I receive because I asked for it. And I took it to those in need. That is okay. There are those also came up and said, I receive.
Honorable, the gentlemen on this panel are actually closer to the reality than we that are mere journalists, because ours is to zoom in and see the truth. Did those items, more so the iron sheets, bear Karamoja or something of the sort?
No.
Those inscriptions?
No.
They are not calibrated.
They are
First,
they are prepainted. Secondly, there is Office of the Prime Minister written on
We
it.
had recommended during the budgeting that these iron sheets from the supplementary should be engraved. OPM, Ministry of Karamoja.
Yeah. So it's clear. It's easy to identify that this is actually iron sheets from the Office of the Prime Minister, because they're pre-painted and also there is a writing on it. So it's easy. Now, so I was telling you there are people who have come up boldly to say, yes, I receive it. And there are those who are saying, I receive, but I had not requested for. Now, let us start from that point. If
I request, that means there is a requisition met.
Yes.
And as such, there is an approval that came my way, perhaps before I got what
Yes.
I requested for.
Yes.
But maybe you never requested the iron sheets from Karamoja.
But listen here. But listen here.
Yes.
Even if you never requested,
you received.
When you receive a call from the Office of the Prime Minister, this is not just, you know, it's an office that coordinates a government activities. So if the Honorable Minister seated here receives a call that, Honorable Minister, we have this program of giving iron sheets, and so we have a few slots for you. Please arrange and take. Being a minister and also knowing that that is the office that coordinates government business activities, he will have confidence. He will not begin to suspect.
But is it the right way?
Listen here. Whether right or wrong, they were given.
Or rather, the right procedure.
Well, that again will require the Office of the Prime Minister to explain what procedure they use, because I do not understand. But if somebody receive a call and say, Honorable so and so, we have this program, and so you have these items for your people.
Yes.
Please come and receive them. That is okay. But where I am also interested, if you receive the iron sheets, what did you do with the iron sheets? If you were told you have iron sheets to support the needy people in your area, if you went and used the iron sheets for roofing your God's house, that is strange.
Most
but is it a reality? Because that story is trending. I, for one, have not followed to the bottom.
It is. I actually read a statement where one honorable minister said he actually decided to remove the mabati from the farm because they are evil. But he has realized that the iron sheets are evil. So he decided to remove them from. Now, that is another problem. So if you were given iron sheets to support needy, probably schools or churches and all that, how do you take it to your farm and begin to I think that's also greed, really. How do you do that? At least there are people who receive these iron sheets and they have provided proof that they took it to schools where you see they did not have a shed. That is okay. Now, where we have a problem is one, the people who gave this iron sheet, if you were assigned to support Karamoja, and then you call a friend, you call somebody to just come and pick outside Karamoja, that is the highest level of abuse. That should never be condoned. So last week I had suggested that actually, if I were those ministers, there are 2 ministers for Karamoja. If I were those ministers, by now I would have resigned. I would have written a long apology to this country and publicly make a statement and say, I am sorry. Because that is what leadership demands. Now let us talk about the God, this God thing. Last week we started smelling. We said something else is coming.
It's coming.
Hopefully another thing will not come next week.
It's the maize.
What?
Maize.
Maize.
I think they're in a row. So they're in a convoy. So last week we talked about iron sheet. Now today we are talking about the gods. The information we have is that 22 billion was provided to procure gods.
25.
22, then another 3 billion to make 25.
Then another 3 billion added.
Who added?
They.
Office of the Prime Minister.
Now, now what some of us are interested in understanding, one, if 22 billion was meant for procuring gods, did they use the money, that money? Did the 22 billion go towards procuring the gods? That is one. Number 2, if the gods were procured, where were the gods procured from?
Because the reports I see are indicating there were goats breeds from Kenya, then breeds from, is it Malawi or something? And in fact, it is dubbed breeds that are not good for the Ugandan kind of climate.
Leave alone that. The information we have is that these goats were procured from areas that were under quarantine.
That's right.
Goats were procured from areas that were under lockdown. Let me use this kind of...
What is the procurement process?
Well, I wish you...
Because I want to believe, just like we have a bidding process where we scrutinize on the bidders before we give them a bid to probably supply, so would be the case with goats. We scrutinize who we are buying from.
My brother, all government businesses have very clearly set out procurement rules. All government, transactions, if government wants to procure services, there are clearly laid out rules that have to be followed. We have laws that govern any form of procurement.
Public, the public procurement and disposal of public assets authority.
Exactly. So there should be no question about that. So we should be interested in understanding, one, did that money, the 22 billion plus the 3 billion that is being talked about, did it all go towards buying the gods? 2, if so, who are the people who supply this?
Honorable, let's keep
Number
it there.
3, where were the gods bought from?
Bought from.
Because the information we are getting is that there are goats that were bought from areas that were under quarantine.
Gomba.
But who's giving you that information, Honorable? Do you trust your sources?
but you, where is your faith anyway? What are you doing?
No, I'm a journalist, and I love it when it is critical information.
Okay, last week you had there people who received iron sheets.
Yes.
Did they not come to confess?
Initially, I doubted. Okay. But when the confession
you heard there were goats that were sick. Did you not hear the goats dying?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So that is what we are telling you. These are facts.
Honorable, let's leave it at that for now, because I want us to take a break. But before we do, maybe a message or two. Someone says some 2 ministers for Karamoja got the Mabati. Can the Karamoja MPs tell us if at least these daughters of the soil delivered to Karenga and Nakapiripirit? This is Benjamin in Kampala. Then I can see Isaac in Rubaga. He says, Honorable Kabyanga is indeed feeling the pain inside him. Therefore, as Ugandans, we pray something should be done to whoever took advantage by using their positions to steal iron sheets. Well, for now, allegations belonging to the people of Karamoja. We thank God some serious rot has been discovered from Ugandan ministries. Those so-called, oh, this is a little harsh, so-called, well, that's what he says, honorable ministers should be severely punished for such an act. This is Isaac in Rubaga. We take a break for now, but how about you keep it where it is? We're returning with part 2 of UBC Behind the Headlines today.
Set to a sport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
This is our family's pride.
This is my friend.
This is the future of our nation.
She is the future of Uganda, and the policies I enact today will protect her from teenage pregnancy.
She is the hope of our community, and I will talk to others about how we must protect her.
She is our family's pride, and I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Their support meant so much to me. I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Certainly it would have made his famous father proud.
And the 18-year-old Gambian left foot on the left foot. Oh! Oh my God! The penalty area. That is sensational. The Tunisia defence have been caught out, caught cold. It's a brilliant little.
Paying your bills the old way.
Let's go, let's go. Just need to buy some power.
Paying your bills with the My Airtel app. line. You have the power in your pocket. The power to instantly pay your bills hassle-free. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
Oh, you're back.
Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
Welcome back. It's UBC Behind the Headlines. My name is Tony Kent Chaze, and today we are yet again looking at the fresh spotlight that came the way of the OPM as this week got started. That is the GOATS scandal. Vis-a-vis the Iron Sheet scandal, we are handling both and trying to understand the reality of the matters compounding these happenings in the office of the Prime Minister. Probably just in case you're tuning in right now, we do have in the House Honorable Geoffrey Kabianga, the State Minister for ICT and National Guidance. We do have Honorable Ngoya John Bosco, the Member of Parliament for Bokora East County, Napak District. And we also have Honorable Ben
It's actually not Bokora East, Bokora.
Bokora.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. We do beg for pardon upon that. Like I said, we also have Honorable Ben Lojokotao. I'm begging to miss out on the other name purposely, on purpose, by the way. He's actually the Member of Parliament for Dodoth West County. Welcome, gentlemen, yes, yet again. And let's pick it on from where we left off. I have a message here from John in Chirombe Luzira. He says it's really a matter that pains the heart of a man and wonders where Uganda is heading to. Concludes with, I mean God will reward and bless the honest leaders, so let us do the right things always. Very interesting there. People are placing it all into the hands of God. Well, quite a number of messages, but how about we turn to Honorable Kabianga? There's been a lot that has been said, and there was actually a message here indicating that there's a bigger hand, or rather many hands involved in everything that is happening in as far as the controversies surrounding the OPM. By the way, for you that is tuning in right now, we were expecting Honorable Amos Lugolobi, the State Minister for Planning in the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, but as of now I can confirm we are not going to be having him on the show today. It's really unfortunate because he would have given us a different story perhaps of the whole bit of the scandal, but it's unfortunate though, and we can't do a thing about it. Honorable Kabianga, could it be there invisible hands in this, or perhaps is there more than meets the eye?
I think when you talk about invisible hands, you just mean probably things have not come to light. Because just as I told you, I'm happy that the people who took the answers have come out openly. So there is no invisible what? Hand.
But is that the right process, Honorable? Because that's probably what Honorable Mapenduzi was shedding light upon. And you being in a position that is more of a government position, where you at, you could help us. Is that the right process? What is the process like?
Obviously, there must have been a problem. That's why all this is coming up. And let me put it very clear to all of you that I'm also feeling the pain. And that one I can't hide.
Thank you so much.
Even the president is feeling the pain because he has talked about corruption. And he has warned people. The other time when we were in Kakumiro, he warned district service commissions. And he told everybody that he feels the pain when the Vazuku will come to tell him that they are buying what? Jobs.
Honorable.
That they are being sexually abused for
for jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Honorable, just to interject you a little. One of the members on the panel made mention of, in another scenario or situation, those persons involved, if deemed guilty, would be coming out to probably resign. In this kind of case, if deemed guilty, what then happens to such persons?
I mean, the laws of the land are very clear. Obviously, let us, because that's what I was saying. We are all feeling the pain, but let us not pronounce people guilty. There are so many investigating arms of government. Because if we start now pronouncing people guilty, blaming people, we shall be diversionary. Because now the organs which are investigating are not going to do thorough work. They may also be taken up by emotions. But what we want is, let this be investigated properly. But then we also want to say, what are the lessons learned? You know, whenever something happens, it must teach you something. I think at the end of the day, as government, we should say, what are the lessons learned? One of my brothers here was saying, probably there should have been a minister for Karamoja who is very familiar with the Karamoja terrain.
Affairs,
that might not be the solution. Because ministers should really concentrate on policy issues, monitoring and supervision. They shouldn't go into operational issues. I think that is the biggest problem. Because here, if what is happening, if what is being investigated comes out true, it means we went into operational what? Matters. But if we had stuck to our mandate of policy, monitoring and supervision, we would now be the ones who is now.
Honorable Kabianga.
Yes.
Interestingly, something just crossed my mind, and I'm thinking to myself, had you been one of those that received maybe goats or iron sheets, how would you go about it?
Obviously, I would have been sorry. But let me also tell you that if they had given me the iron sheets, I would have taken them. Because that one also should be. You know, people now are making noise because there is a problem. But even these MPs of Karamoja, if they had been given 1,000 iron sheets, probably they would have taken them, but taken them to the people where...
I see a different face.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Probably even me or Mapinduzi was given the 300 iron sheets, you would have taken them, but probably take them to the needy people. To the Karamoja people. And I think that's what Honorable Mapinduzi was. Let me first finish my point. That's what Honorable Mapinduzi was saying. That if you take them to those needy people, it's okay. But because now there is a problem, everybody's saying, but why did you take? But I'm telling you, you may meet even before people have taken. But because there was no problem, nobody's coming out to say, but I also took at one time. But now, but because now there is a problem.
Last week.
Exactly.
Last week I gave an example where I personally wrote. I wrote because I was informed there is a slot for Acholi sub-region under the affirmative action.
For Northern Uganda.
Under the office of the Minister of State for
Northern Uganda.
So I wrote because the bishop of the Pentecostal churches had approached me. I wrote, submitted. They were honest enough and said, look, our slot is little.
Yes.
The demand is so high.
Yes.
We are reducing for 2 churches. And you know what happened? I gave that example. They went up to Gulu at a meeting with the beneficiaries. The church leaders were called. Broad day, with journalists, carried, all the iron sheets were taken to Gulu office. Now, you are distributing iron sheets for Karamoja in Kampala. Really?
Actually, the problem here, Honorable Minister, is which iron sheets are you receiving?
Yes. So what
because
you're saying is true.
If I have to just give a clarification, if I was to receive iron sheets and they are for Karamoja, I wouldn't have a problem. But I would still complain for the fact that the rest of the iron sheets have not gone to Karamoja. I can't receive, and I am comfortable that I have received and I keep quiet.
And that's what I was saying, that because now there is a problem, we are now looking at which iron sheets did people receive. But before that problem came up, people were receiving iron sheets, and nobody was even imagining that they would be for Karamoja. And that one brings me to another issue.
Honorable Kabianga, give Honorable an opportunity to just make a rejoinder, perhaps.
They were fully aware. There could be a few that were not cognizant to the fact that there were issues for Karamoja. But there are people, there are ministers who are willing to testify, including MPs, who are willing to come to committee to testify that we were called and told we have iron sheets for Karamoja. Come and pick. There's someone who said I requested for 150 to go and roof a classroom block that had been blown off by wind. But she had even told the driver, go to Namamve to receive. The call was, receive 500 instead of 150 that she needed. They were giving extra iron sheets of 350. But along the way, our conscience could not allow her to do that. She just called the driver and said, go back. I can't be part of picking those iron sheets that are not
as Honorable
for
Ngoya,
what it's intended.
As Honorable Ngoya comes in a little briefly, because Honorable Minister Kabianga was still sharing, perhaps could it be even the supplier is conniving, well, in this case, with the allegation bit of it all? Could it be the supplier is also to be pointed the finger at? Or the manufacturer? Yes.
Chasey, you are right. I am seated close to the Kasese man. And you know, my argument is your conscience to disturb you. 3,000 people have died as a result of insecurity. And we are telling you that we want to stop insecurity because we have bandits that require what you call mindset change. You well understand people have died in the process.
Actually, he's directly in charge of mindset
that
change.
Is right. And yeah, I am seated closer to the man, closer to God, in a sense.
We should plan to give to Karamoja.
So, and the guidance is actually provided to the person who is supposed to provide national guidance.
No, I beg that.
So the point we're actually trying to belabor here is, if you know the situation in Karamoja is dire, people have died as a result of insecurity.
Yes.
And we have asked Parliament to appropriate resources to change the face of the situation. Not that you are not aware. Ministers have actually discussed this budget at cabinet level.
Yes.
That is when they were able to appropriate 39 billion. So honestly, my friend Godfrey, in God's name, if you knew 39 billion was going to change the situation of a portion of this country you believe is part of Uganda, why would you accept iron sheets or even goats? Why would you float the process of procurement that is supposed to salvage a situation of a dying population? We are aware about the impact of insecurity. Many of our children are begging in the streets. Many of them are crushed in the process of putting their hands out for help. Now, government, in its wisdom, provides the 39 billion to see whether the situation can change and these children get back. But you are there preying on the blood, actually, literally sucking the blood of the dying. When we, in fact, that the iron sheets are physical. In fact, Professor Spire has put this
the
cartoon of iron sheets walking directions. But the one of the iron sheets walking to Karamoja actually collapses. It does not know the direction. and that is the irony of it. Now, if they wrote in the iron sheets that were 9 billion shillings, is this bad? That
what about 22?
What about the 22 billion shillings? Where there was an addition of 3 billion.
And what about other programs?
What about other
Not
programs?
just for Karamoja, but the entire
So
country.
that is where we are basically saying, where is our conscience? Where is our morality as a nation?
Honorable, probably let's put a pause and turn back to the minister. He's probably taken that question on. And
but I also wanted to add a question. Honorable Minister, as the one in charge of national guidance, can you please provide some guidance to your colleagues?
Wow, you've actually preempted my statements.
What guidance do you give to your colleagues who have, maybe you need to guide them to exit?
No, I've guided already. I've told you one thing is, let us concentrate on policy, monitoring and supervision. And we leave operational matters to those who are in charge of what? Of operations, so that we can really see where the problem is. But if we go into operational matters, then we shall be entangled in some problems which will get us somewhere. Two, a Chinese friend of mine invited me for lunch in Beijing. And then I asked another Chinese friend that I've been invited for lunch by so and so. He said, oh, that's very good. But you know one thing, that in China, there is no free lunch.
That was a good warning.
Exactly. He told me, but you be careful that in China, there is no what?
Free lunch.
Free lunch. That guy must have seen something that you can do to assist him. So there is no free lunch in China. But I'm not saying you shouldn't go for that lunch. And
even in Uganda, there is no free lunch.
Exactly. Yes. So what I can also guide is, whenever someone offers you something, you know there is no free what? Free lunch.
Free mabati.
It's not an endeavor.
Exactly. Because eventually it can
It's
cause
not a
you
favor,
what?
but
It can cause you problems. So those are things which we have to be very, very careful about as leaders, and not necessarily ministers, but even MPs, even other people, even local government leaders, even civil servants. We must always know there is nothing for free. And you know those are now that's now what we are paying for. That's what we are paying for now, trying to explain, trying to defend ourselves. Sometimes some of the people are defending themselves over something they don't even understand at all.
I actually wanted to ask the minister as well. While we rely on technocrats for advice, in the case of the OPM, I think the technocrats are a problem. Because honestly, the procurement process was flouted. Yeah? We have been actually asking, as a committee, as petitioners, during this process of appearing in the presidential committee, that was there an attempt to do a verification exercise of the delivered goods, for instance. Now that you have actually finally settled the cost of the goods. Because if the districts report that they have not got 39,082 goats, and you have already settled the suppliers, does the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs or the Ministry of Finance, sorry that Honorable Amos Lugolobi is not here, would have actually asked, is there money for us to be able to procure? Because as the Karamoja Parliamentary Group, we're asking for the iron sheets meant for Karamoja. We're asking for the goats that have not been delivered, because there are groups that are still waiting. From the 534 parishes that were supposed to benefit from goats and iron sheets, the OPM only chose 477. So we are talking about a shortfall of about 40 parishes that have not gotten. A whole constituency of my colleague Hilary Lokwang,
the
Hik,
the most
have not gotten
marginalized.
the goats, the most marginalized.
Not even a goat.
Most of these communities in the urban centers, or what we actually call the municipalities, haven't gotten. Now, we are basically talking about that. That is the question we're actually asking. What happens to those that haven't gotten? And yet OPM says it has settled the suppliers.
Honorable, let's give
and by the way, this
Minister.
is 1 year down the road.
Yeah, but
procurement was done in April 2014.
Yes.
But we are talking of March 2023. We are coming to 1 year, no iron sheets delivered.
2022, right?
Yeah.
2022. Now we are coming to 2023, no iron sheets delivered.
No
goats are partially delivered. What happened? And yet the budget was exhausted in June
Minister,
2022.
Honorable Kabianga.
Yes.
I think I'll give you a minute or two to respond, but in the same regard, there is a Godfrey here on WhatsApp who just sent a message saying, Mr. Moderator, there should be no self-gratification for people to say that they gave the iron sheets to the needy people. As long as they went to the wrong place, doing the right thing in a wrong timing at a wrong place is itself wrong. Godfrey.
Yes, I think we agree with that. But we are saying let the committee establish whether those were the iron sheets that went to the wrong place. Because you may even find that the Karamoja iron sheets might be in stores. All that will be established. Now, if I go back to my brother, the biggest problem we have in the government, and I think Honorable Mapinduzi here, who has chaired a district, knows it, is these issues of post-audit. You know, our audit reports, we don't do pre-audit. We do post-mortem, actually. So now, what these people say we have delivered. Now, the auditors are going there to say, did you deliver? So that we really find out what was supposed to be delivered and what was delivered. And if the budget was saying this, how was that money diverted and where is it? So after that, then we shall see who is in the wrong. But this is here, just as Honorable Mapinduzi said, our procurement system is guided by law. The procurement law is one of the best laws we have in this country. That PPDA Act, even local government procurement law, is one of the best that we have in this country. And it has all the procedures, even the forms. By the way, every step you fill a what? A form. But some of the processes are floated. And that is true. But now all these things should come up now during investigation. Because these issues of iron sheets and goats has now opened the can of what? Of worms.
Honorable Minister, there is a question of, you see, as procurement processes are being blamed for these mistakes of the goats, the iron sheets, and many other scandals in OPM. But there is a question of morality. The morals of the people who are undertaking this. If you are supposed to deliver this number of goats, why don't you deliver that? And if someone has not delivered that number, why do you pay them? Why do you pay? That's the question.
Just a rejoinder on what Honorable Ben.
Let's have it brief because I want to get
the other
to.
thing. Do you pay before or you pay after?
Yeah, precisely. And sorry,
so if somebody has not delivered enough, then you don't pay them.
Moya, make it brief.
While appearing on the Committee of Presidential Affairs, the OPM actually presented a report. They call it a contract performance report on distribution of goats and iron sheets in Karamoja. This was written on the 24th of February, just I think 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah, 4 days ago.
And they actually give us an indication that everything is complete. Even when they're talking about these iron sheets that have not been
delivered,
the goats that have not been delivered, in fact, in their own report, they say
they were released.
They were released. Just imagine 261 goats die in the process of delivery.
Yeah.
But you have already settled the supplier. At one point, do you actually go and ask them to be able to make good of the rejected or the dead goats?
When they have died,
when
just the
Nabila
following
Juk was
day.
actually presenting their report, they basically said there was a company called Jolly Associates that delivered 1,000 goats, and 600 goats died. But you have already settled. So why is the responsibility in the OPM to make sure that the money that was appropriated to make the situation in Karamoja better has actually done its work?
I hope Honorable Kabianga has noted
But
that.
you see,
Yes, Honorable Mapenduzi.
my brother, this investigation, just like the Honorable Minister said, should be broadened.
Yeah.
If you delivered goats that were not healthy, the veterinary officers of those districts that receive
should be
held
responsible,
because they could be part of
the racket.
The racket.
Yes.
But, but also, there is a possibility that the suppliers, the contractor is high profile.
No, I'm
in
coming to
quotes.
that. I'm coming to that. So it needs proper tracking right from where the goats were bought. Because you cannot buy goats from Goma.
No, from who the contractor is.
No, first get the
actually
contractor.
investigate who the contractor is.
Investigate who the contractor is. Then trace where they have bought goats from. If you bought goats from a district that is under quarantine and you got a letter of no objection and a movement permit, that is a violation of the law.
Yes.
And criminal.
It is criminal in nature. So it has to be broadened because this is impunity. The veterinary officers who receive goats that were collapsing should be held responsible.
Yes.
The veterinary officers who release goats that were sick should be held responsible. But most importantly, and this is where the problem is, this procurement thing in government, especially in the office of the Prime Minister, this goat thing needs to be looked at. I think if there was a way, Honorable Minister, this kind of rot should be handled once and for all. Look here, in during the time of return, office of the Prime Minister abused the people of northern Uganda, the people of Acholi, rotten seeds. And you know, some of the people who are supplying the rotten seeds, some of the companies belong to ministers. Rotten GNAT, rotten what? Then fake pangas.
The famous one.
Actually, Honorable Mapenduzi, it is actually upon that I had wanted to put this question to you. It came in as a bit of a query from someone who said, why are we normalizing delaying justice by investigating open evidence? That is Ivan Kahwa, an investigative journalist.
Exactly. I don't think investigation is a problem because those are set systems. Actually, investigation helps to even dig more. So investigation is not a... Where we have a problem is after investigation, what takes place. Finally, when everything is clear, what action do we take to deal with this kind of impunity? I think that's where the problem is. So investigation is okay. Because now you know, we know that the minister for Karamoja, the ministers for Karamoja, released iron sheets that were meant for Karamoja. That is okay. But we go deeper to even find out now whether all the iron sheets were bought, how much a piece was bought, and who are the people who sold it. We need to have all those facts and figures. So that when we deal with wrongdoings, we don't leave one angle. We deal with it conclusively. So I think it's
all right. Honorable, you know, I don't want to make an error while I mention your name,
Yes.
Kotau. There is this bit of a question that came, and it's going to be in addition to what you wanted to share. Someone says, that is Willie, following the show, live on UBC TV. You said that in one of your meetings, you agreed that Karamoja iron sheets should be branded Office of the Prime Minister, Karamoja Ministry. That's what this person quotes, saying, meaning you are aware that the Prime Minister's office had iron sheets for other areas in the country. Simple question, so this person highlights. The iron sheets we are talking about, are they part of those labeled Karamoja Ministry or those of the Prime Minister's office or those for any other part of Uganda?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And the question then at that time was, we need these iron sheets branded and identified so that they are not mismanaged. And that's when we arrived at branding them OPM MOCA, Ministry of Karamoja Affairs. But unfortunately, the Ministry of Office of the Prime Minister did not take that advice. They chose to just put them Office of the Prime Minister, not for sale, just like that. While aware that every affirmative action ministry has iron sheets, the Ministry of Disaster has iron sheets to take care of disasters in this country.
They could have been meant for Elgon region, could have been meant for Honorable Kabianga's region.
Yes, you could actually see, Tony, from the onset that there was a very, I would say, a well-orchestrated plan. That if we did this, then what we intend to do will not work. So we need to leave them plain so that if we mismanage, it can be, we can play around with terms, we can play around with the stores and say, no, because currently, the report that we are getting is the iron sheets for Karamoja are in store, 74,000. Only 25,000. Actually, stories, I mean, the statements are even different because the accounting officer came out last week and said, we procured 95,000 iron sheets pre-painted for Karamoja and then 10,000 white under affirmative action, so 105,000. We have released 25,500. But today, it was a different statement. We procured 95,000 and 10,000, which gives us again the same total, but released 20,400. And we were asking our questions, where are the 5,000? If you, in the other statement that you made public, 25, today is 20,400. So there are those discrepancies. But again, also the PS came up and made a statement. I have released iron sheets meant for Karamoja. We shall cooperate with investigation to establish how the iron sheets did not reach Karamoja and ended up where? In Namisimba. You see that?
No, I just want to...
So, just a moment. So it's already like it was a planned move that if we branded this, probably the Prime Minister as the head, the political head of the ministry, wasn't aware of everything else, but somebody else must have told, no, we need to have this plain and as OPM, not knowing that they had their own plan. Probably technical people or any other person. Okay. So basically, that's where we went wrong.
Honorable Ngoya. Yes. You wanted to come in?
Yeah, I wanted to add, chip in. You asked the question, were these Karamoja iron sheets or from another...
Or maybe iron sheets for another region?
Yeah. You know, we need to ask ourselves the pertinent question, the coincidence. Honorable Kitutu issues a letter asking for 12,000 iron sheets.
Actually, first June.
Yeah.
June.
No, but fast forward, let's just talk about this year. On the 25th of January. Now, the issuing of those iron sheets started on the 5th of February. To the list of these Karashona reformed warriors who are actually ministers.
In Kampala.
In Kampala. On the 5th, on the 15th, and about the last time, you know, Honorable Matia Kasaija was actually appearing. And he was even surprised. He was telling the committee, I am surprised I have 300 iron sheets in my compound.
And he did not know how
he didn't know how they actually came about. So, you know, sometimes we also have to ask, is it a coincidence that there is an issue of a letter by the minister, and over that period of time, the next period of time, these iron sheets are flowing to the rest? Are they coming from another region? In fact, when we were asking the team that had actually come from the office of the Karamoja Affairs, the minister actually said, their report states that the 14,000 iron sheets were given as donations by the minister. You just imagine. These are iron sheets coming from the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs, supposed to be able to go for reformed warriors, and it becomes a donation for a minister to other Karashuna who are actually in Kampala, who happen to be ministers. Is it a coincidence that they are only ministers? Why couldn't it have been Mapinduzi, for instance, who is not a minister? I'm sorry that my colleague.
No, Honorable, it's okay because
one of the reformed warriors.
No, apparently I'm going to give him a chance to respond. That is why I'm giving you as ample time as possible, because that time will come.
But you see, some of these things are also the Honorable Minister is hearing for the first time, so he may not be able to respond.
But
I'm sure some of the things they're also learning.
Yes, Honorable, come in.
When we are on this panel,
yes,
it's a discussion. And this country belongs to us.
Yes.
And that's why every time I come here, they say you will sit in the hot seat. I say no, I'm going to sit in a seat that is going to guide the nation. And that's why these talk shows are there, so that people can get more and more information. And I would like to thank my brothers from Karamoja for coming out openly to say this is what we feel, and to show the whole world that they are really in pain. And the whole world is looking at it. But Honorable Mapinduzi assisted me to answer one question of the goats which died. Those veterinary officers, they have the right to reject any goat. But some of them are also bribed. The supplier comes with sick goats. They see that the goats are weak. The supplier bribes them, and they receive the goats. And when someone takes the goat dies even in 1 hour. Those are things which normally happen. Because for us who have been local government, who have seen some of these things. Two, something now is coming out clearly, that all the goats were not supplied. And I'm happy that the leaders of Karamoja are bringing it out. Now, we need to dig deep. There might have been some people who received the air. You're getting me? And that one has been happening for us who are local government leaders, even during NAD, supply of seeds and whatever. They would go to someone and someone receives what? Air. That one can also be possible.
Can I just help you with that? Actually, there was a report by Kabong district that while a supplier was giving goats, the supplier would turn back after giving the goats and buy these goats cheaply at 30,000, at 50,000 shillings. The price of a goat, according to their price list, is 240, the list. And the highest is actually 595. You have given the community, and you are actually recycling, buying from the very people you have actually given, giving it to another community, because you are the same supplier in the same district.
Now those are the things which I'm trying to say we need to look at. And you may think all that is being assisted, is being orchestrated by people in Kampala. But you meet that even people on the ground in Karamoja are involved in those heinous acts. So we need to go deeper than what we are seeing now.
Honorable Minister, let's put a pause for now. We are taking a very short break as we get into the conclusive part of UBC Behind the Headlines today. We are returning shortly.
Patrick should put the pictures of the dead.
Yeah.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless.
Certainly it would have made his famous father proud.
And the 18-year-old Gambian left foot on the left foot. Oh! Oh my God! Towards the penalty area. That is sensational. The Tunisia defence have been caught out, caught cold. It's a brilliant little.
Welcome back from that short break. It was quite necessary for the gentleman to cool down a little bit. And we are picking it up from where the minister was making a submission. But as well, in a very brief bit of response, someone wishes to know from you, Honorable Minister, the roles of RDCs, the GAOs, the LC5s in regard to delivery of central government disbursements. This is Watira Wilson Bududa. I think he's wondering why, at one stage we said MPs were given these things to take.
Yeah, you know, RDCs, all those monitor government programs. RDCs obviously are representatives of central government. And therefore, anything that is in the district, they should monitor and give reports. They give quarterly reports to the Ministry of Presidency. And they are also in charge of security in the district. And they are even circulars to the extent that no project of government should be commissioned without the RDC. Actually, the RDC is supposed to commission. The LOC5 chairmen, their roles are very, very clear. First of all, they're representatives of the people in that district. And they should do monitoring and supervising. And also, they are in charge of the budgets of the district. They are the ones actually who plan for the district. So under normal circumstances, actually, they are supposed to do the needs assessment. So Prime Minister's office cannot take goats to Karamoja if the LOC5 chairmen have not said the needs of their people are what? Are goats. They cannot take Mabati to Karamoja unless the LOC5 chairman has said the needs of the people are Mabati. So even if baseline surveyors come from the Prime Minister's office, they should collaborate with office of the LOC5 chairman, because for him he has a comprehensive plan of the whole district, and therefore we should fit into those plans. Actually, those ones would be the unfunded priorities in our local governments, because we don't have many we don't have a lot of money. Those are unfunded priorities. People need iron sheets. We cannot fund. So those interventions must come from the central government.
The local leaders.
Yes, in the form of now interventions like that one of Office of the Prime Minister.
Okay.
So what actually, if government can operate the way it is supposed to operate, all these problems wouldn't be there. But there is a lot of what do you call it, Honorable Mapinduzi?
Impunity?
No, silos, you know, work in silos, you know. The district is as if it is a government of its own, then central government is another government of its own. But all these are governments which are supposed to do what? to cooperate.
Bureaucracy.
A lot of bureaucracy, a lot of silos. So someone would like to go and show that probably Ministry of Rwenzori Luwero should be seen to be working. But what are you doing? What you are doing is in the district. So when you are working, the chairman LC5 should also be what?
Honorable Kabianga,
yes.
Allow me come back to you as the last input for the show for today, or rather output for the show for today, and that will be basically a national guidance message to whoever is watching us today, more so concerning this that is happening in the country as it is. Let me get to Honorable Ngoya. Let's have probably 2.5 minutes at most for your conclusive submission. The same will be the case for Honorable Batumi. That is the right one this time?
Batom.
Oh,
Batom.
Oh God,
Batom.
I don't know why I'm failing.
Batom.
And so will be the case with our studio and resident panelist, Honorable Mapenduzi. Honorable Ngoya.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chase, for the opportunity to share as a leader of Karamoja part of our own thoughts through it. We are pained as a region, and we look up to the Committee of Presidential Affairs for justice. I really would wish that the Committee of Presidential Affairs digs deeper into the goats.
What justice do you want to come your way?
We are saying perhaps there are many things that have been happening in the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs and also of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And this is an opportunity for us, or for this particular committee, to unearth that, so that there is an improvement in this Ministry of Affirmative Action for Karamoja. That's what we are basically trying to say. But also, if you are out there and you are a supplier, if you are out there and you are a beneficiary of these iron sheets, of these goats, that are supposed to be able to change the situation of Karamoja, we really would wish that you come out and apologize. And our wish and our prayer still is that Honorable Mary Goreti Kitutu be Christian enough, just like Agnes Nandutu, to step aside, because our work, our conscience should be disturbing her with these narratives, that there was an attempt by government to make the situation better.
Yes.
And this situation has not become better because they actually allowed a bonanza of something that should actually be able to go to Karamoja region, to end up in other regions. Okay. So this is our prayer. And again, I must thank all those good-hearted Ugandans that supported us in the process of the hunger situation, in the process of insecurity, supported the leaders. We commit as leaders to continue doing our part, mobilizing communities, but also being their voice.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's get to the Dodoth West County MP. I am actually sorry that I've not gotten your name well on this show, but probably outside I'll do a bit of practice and we shall be good to go.
It's okay.
Please, as you conclude.
Yeah, thank you very much. Number one, I want to thank the media. The media has been a very good ally for us as members of parliament from Karamoja and the Karamoja people, because first they broke out the story, the new vision, and also they've sustained the conversation online, print media, and the shows, everything. And that is going to make it actually look more national and make things really happen for fast, and it will push those people that are in those positions of power to make sure things are done very well. But I just want to say a few things, 1, 2, 3. Number one is, like the Minister for National Guidance said, State for National Guidance, these are allegations and we want to maintain them as allegations, but also the allegations that have prima facie cases for those that are involved to actually probably come out and talk the truth, because we've already had a lot of confessions from those who have received the iron sheets. I was called I was done this, I never asked for them. That is already an indication that there was crime.
Way forward? Way forward?
There was crime.
Way forward for you, Honorable?
Just a moment. Then number two, OPM has been marred with a lot of scandals. Gavi, Chogam, there was Kazinda, there was now the GOAT. Program. And then we needed to look at OPM again in a different lens, probably with a mind that we need to reorganize OPM to move away from implementation to purely coordinating and monitoring government programs. The final one is, I'm just kind of looking at the head of state. I would implore that the head of state needed to hit the road when it is hot, so that it's possible that you deal with this issue quick and send a message to the rest of those people who are provided with the responsibility and duty to make sure they deliver for the citizens of this country. Because I think corruption is becoming tough and a hard nut to crack for His Excellency. He has preached it in very many occasions, but it seems like the people he has surrounded himself with don't want to listen, and probably needs to change the statement. Probably go back to look at the proposal that the IGG brought the other time during the anti-corruption celebrations, Kololo, of lifestyle audit. Because if we don't go forward to look at those bits, then people are still going to abuse their responsibility, authority, and just do whatever they want with the guys that, as long as I'm going to invest in the country,
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
Honorable Mapenduzi, your conclusive remarks and perhaps your prayer.
Well,
the common language in the plenary.
I have the ministers are appointed by the president, and so I am hopeful that the president will take action. Parliament is doing its part. The Committee of Parliament is doing its part. And I can assure you the 11th Parliament is different. The 11th Parliament is different. And I'm sure the committee will do its part within the time they have been given. Another committee today presented a report. I wish you had time to read that report.
The NSSF report?
Yes.
Actually, NSSF probe report.
Yes, if you read that report and you look at their findings and the recommendations. Because some people have been saying, you know, Parliament, blah, 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 and all that. And so I am hopeful that the committee that is investigating this Karamoja issue will be able to produce a report, which report should help, just like the Honorable Minister said.
Shall be a turning point.
Just like the Honorable Minister said, right now, I'm sure even the President is waiting for that report.
Wow.
So once we have the report ready, Parliament will debate, we will come with recommendations based on the findings. But you see, this shouldn't be a big problem because there are people who have come out open and confessed that, look, I was called innocently.
Yes.
I was told to pick this, I never asked for it. Now, if you are a minister and you donate, you just donate, you donate. Donate what is meant for Karamoja. That is crime against humanity. The other day I said such crimes in a country like China, you would be hanged. you would be. So
I hope that's not a proposal that Honorable Mapenduzi is putting on the table.
That's why I said in a country like China.
Sometimes advice comes in a disguise.
Well, we have laws in this country, so we will still. Even in China, they are following their law anyway. So we follow ours. But
and the minister talked about the examples of China, so we can start with that.
Yeah, but what is most important is that the Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, the Prime Minister,
yes,
needs to. I like her style of work. She's she's a field person. The prime ministers I have known have not been like her.
Yes.
She moves to the field. She's very responsive.
So what does she need to do? Because that's where you are getting.
She needs to know that this is a litmus test. This is a big test to our.
Has she so far passed or otherwise, in your view?
Well, I mean, she whatever action she's going to take helps a lot to give confidence to Ugandans.
Okay.
That is the litmus test I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because the prime minister coordinates a government business, but you cannot say the prime minister is part of the problem when there is a ministry with full accounting officers. Okay? So the prime minister needs to know that because these ministries are under office,
advocate,
they are soiling the reputation of that office.
Okay.
We have had a problem during the time of Right Honorable Mama Mbabazi, when we got rotten seats, we got a fake farm inputs and all that. Then later on, the PRDP money got stolen and all that. I think the current prime minister has a big task to rebuild the image, the name of that office. And it has started badly that a place like Karamoja, because in Karamoja, last year, over 500 people died. Yeah. You see a child, just not even a child,
an
adult. You think this adult is kneeling down, is already collapsing and dying.
Honorable Mapendus, probably let's have Minister Kabyanga give us a bit of national guidance on all the issues from yours to the honorables, so we cannot go beyond a particular bit of the time, because we are into the next day, and I'm sure each one of us will be expected somewhere, probably early morning or any time after the morning time. Honorable Minister.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say, because you said you asked whether Right Honorable Nabanja has passed the litmus test. She has passed it. Because you still remember, she has unearthed the rotten beans, the substandard blankets, substandard nets. And on this one, she's, I think, the first prime minister to come out boldly and say, I am going to
handle ABCD.
Exactly. That one is passing the litmus test. And we should applaud her for that. And her field work has really demystified the pomp that was surrounding the office of the prime minister. And we should thank her for that. And probably because she's occupied in all these mobilizations and whatever, that's why some of these things probably are happening. But we should applaud her for that, and she has passed the litmus test.
Your message to Ugandans?
My message to Ugandans is we should all fight corruption. It should be a joint responsibility. And whether Parliament, I thank the parliamentarians from Karamoja, because they are digging out information now and giving to the committee. That's what it's supposed to be. But others would have hidden it because probably their friends are involved or what. But if let them dig out information, even those Karamajong who are involved should come out. It should not be only ministers and whatever. That one will be diversionary. There might be some leaders in Karamoja, some civil servants, political leaders who are involved. Dig it out. And obviously, we should work on our morals, all of us, not particularly those you think have been mentioned. And I would also like to insist that these are still allegations. And once we start blaming people, passing judgment, it will be diversionary.
Yes.
And as a country, that's not how we should move. Let us wait for the report, and I know the report will bring out a lot of information because people are testifying, they are openly. So I think it will be a very good report of Parliament, IGG, and State House Anti-Corruption Unit.
Wow.
So let people be calm and let us all work on our morals. It is our responsibility as Ugandans to ensure we make this country a better one by fighting corruption.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kabianga. And well, for you that came in a little late, there is a reason as to why the panel has been an all-male panel. Efforts to get the female sisters onto the show were a little futile, whilst, of course, the resident panelist, Dr. Birete, is not in the country, but rather in Zambia on particular duties. We've also missed out on Honorable Amos Bulugolobi, the State Minister for Planning. He had actually confirmed he would be with us today, but unfortunately, we've not had him on the show. But a great thank you and applause to the gentleman in studio, ICT and National Guidance State Minister, Honorable Geoffrey Kabianga. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Honorable Ngoya John Bosco, the MP Bokora County, that is Napak District. Thank you so much for coming through. And I'm actually hopeful we are friends now.
Oh, yes.
And as well to Honorable Ben Lojokotau, the Dodoth West County MP.
The other name is Batom.
I'll practice off air. And well, thank you so much as well, Honorable Ojara Mapenduzi. You're very, very great personality. And even at that time when we thought you were not coming through, all of us began to shake around and think, oh, the man is not coming through.
By the way, I came from the field and I'm going back.
Mbale.
I'm with the Committee on Public, Local Government Public Accounts.
Wow. We applaud your work.
So we are traversing the country, and in the morning we'll be in Mbarara.
Wow. We applaud your work. We thank you all that have been part. There's been approximately about 245 messages. You definitely can't blame us for not going through all of them. The few we've managed to go through is what we did manage to go through. Otherwise, we thank you, those that have been on Twitter, those that have been following on YouTube, those that are watching us on UBC TV as it is right now. And until we meet again next time, for God and my country, let's fight corruption together. My name is Kent, and I shall say good night, or perhaps good morning.
No, good morning.
Yeah. It's morning already.
It's still good night.
Oh, no, it's
we Africans.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
This is our family's pride.
This is my friend.
This is the future of our nation.
She is the future of Uganda, and the policies I enact today will protect her from teenage pregnancy.
She is the hope of our community, and I will talk to others about how we must protect her.
She is our family's pride, and I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Their support meant so much to me. I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.